Hello everyone. In this second lecture on principles of inheritance, we are going to discuss about the dihybrid cross in detail. After which we will see how the trihybrid cross will be. Before going into the details of dihybrid cross, we will see how the allele segregation will be during gamete formation. Here this concept which we have discussed in the monohybrid cross, when the genotype is T, the types of gametes produced will be of only one type, that consists of T. Whereas if it is T and small t type, then the types of gametes produced will be of two different types, one of T, the other one is of small t type. The same thing can be seen on the chromosomes here. This is one homologous chromosome pair. So when it is T on one chromosome, the other chromosome may consist T or small t, the alternative forms of the allele. During gamete formation, this chromosome will enter into one, this chromosome will enter into the other gamete. Therefore, one is of one T, the other one is of T or small t. That's how the gamete formation will be. This is what we understood from the monohybrid cross. This is what the law of segregation says. So according to the law of segregation, in one allelic pair, the segregation of alleles will be in such a way during gamete formation where each gamete will receive only one allele from one allelic pair. So no gamete can be hybrid, always the gamete will be pure. The same way when I take capital R small r also along with capital T small t, so according to again the law of segregation, this gamete should possess one of this allele. So this is how the gamete formation will be. So I cannot write capital T one gamete and capital R one gamete. It's not like this. So each gamete will possess at least one allele from allelic pair. That's how the gamete formation will be. So when you apply that here, so when it is capital T small t, then the type of gametes going to be produced is capital T and small t type. So total number of types is two types. When it is capital T small t, capital R, then again two types of gametes will be produced. When it comes to capital T small t, capital R small r, I can write four different combinations like this. So you can see each gamete will definitely possess one allele from each allelic pair. That's how the distribution will be. The same thing you can write for this also. If it is gamete from this, one of this, and one of this has to be present in each gamete. So for example, capital T, capital R, capital Y will be one gamete. So when you are asked to find out how many types of gametes will be produced from a given genotype, say for example, if this genotype is given and you are asked to find out how many types of gametes are produced from this, straight away you can apply this formula where n is the number of heterozygous conditions. So when just apply these things here, there is no heterozygous condition, so n value is 0. So 2 power 0 is 1. So that's what you will get. Here one heterozygous pair is there, therefore 2 power 1, therefore it is 2. Here again only one heterozygous pair is there. So you can see this is heterozygous, but this one is homozygous. So again n value will be 1 only in this case, therefore 2 power 1, 2. But here capital T small t is one heterozygous pair, capital R small r is also another heterozygous pair, therefore 2 power 2, totally 4 you will get. The same thing here also, 2 power 2 only, again you will get only 4 types of gametes from this. So from this 2 power 3, totally 8 types of gametes will be produced. The same way when you are asked to find out what is the probability of a particular gamete from a given genotype. Say for example, if the genotype of the organism is capital T small t, capital R small r, what is the probability of small t capital R, for example? This can be calculated based on the probability. So here capital T small t, in this only small t is asked. So when you just look into only this particular allelic pair, the probability of gamete to have small t is half. So you can see that here. So when capital T small t is there, probability of small t is half. So half capital T, half small t. So the probability of small t is half. The probability of capital R from this is half. So when you multiply these two, you'll get 1 by 4. So the probability of small t capital R from this genotype is 1 in 4, that is 25% or 0.25. So we can check that here also. So this is what asked. So totally 4 types of gametes will be produced. The probability of this will be 1 in totally 4. That's how you can apply this formula. Say for example, if you are asked to find out what is the probability of small t capital R small y from this genotype. You can apply this formula and you can find out what is the proportion of this. Right. Now, how many types of gametes are generated from capital A small a, capital B small b, capital C small c, capital D small d, capital E, capital F small f. And what is the probability of capital A small b, capital C, small d, capital E small f? So this problem and this problem together are asked. So you are asked to find out how many types of gametes will be produced. You can apply this formula and what is the proportion of it. You can use this particular rule. You can calculate that. Right, coming to the dihybrid cross, we understood that monohybrid cross is the cross where only one trait is pair of trait is considered. That is, one character is considered. But when it comes to the dihybrid cross, two pairs of traits will be considered or two characters will be considered. So when I take only round wrinkled, that is round seed crossed with wrinkled, you can see that here. When I consider only the shape of the seed, this is round, this one is wrinkled. I am ignoring the color here. Then it will become monohybrid cross. Now, when I consider only color, not the shape, then it will be yellow, this one is green. So the cross will become yellow crossed with green, another type of monohybrid cross. But when I consider two characters at once, color as well as shape here, then round yellow crossed with wrinkled green. That's what the dihybrid cross is. So how many characters you are considering, based on that it is dihybrid cross. Now cross which involves individuals differing in two characters or two pairs of traits is what the dihybrid cross is. So that you can write as we have seen in the monohybrid cross. So parents are round yellow and wrinkled green. These are the parents. So genotypes, because these are pure breeding, capital R, capital R, capital Y, and small r, small r, small y, small y. Gametes produced will be capital R, capital Y from this, small r, small y from this. Now the F1 will consist of capital R, capital Y, small y, and the phenotype of this will be round and yellow. Now from this, totally 4 types of gametes will be produced. Now when you perform self-hybridization, this is how the combination will be. Here I have shown only combination with one gamete with 4 gametes from the other side. So if you take this one as the male gametes and this one as the female gametes in self-hybridization only, you can write various combinations like this. So as it is difficult to write this Four-Could method for all these combinations, you can go with the Punnett square method. So 4 types of gametes we have written horizontally here, and 4 types of gametes we have written vertically here in the matrix. Now if you consider these are the male and these are the female. So these are all the various combinations that you can obtain. So once you write these genotypes, based on this you can write the phenotypes also. So this one will be round yellow, this one also round and yellow, all these will be round and yellow. Whereas this one is capital R, small y, therefore it is round and green. And here it is same, round but it is green. Here it is wrinkled but yellow. Here it is wrinkled and green. That's how, based on this genotypes, you can write what will be the possible phenotypes. So in this totally 16 combinations are there, in which 4 plus 3 plus 2 will be of one type of phenotype, that is round yellow, whereas round green are 3 totally, whereas wrinkled yellow will be 3 and wrinkled green will be 1. This is how the combinations that you can write and the phenotypes can be written. Now the phenotypic ratio in this will be 4 plus 3, 7 is to, 4 plus 3, 7 plus 2, total 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. That's what the phenotypic ratio is. So 9 round yellow, 3 round green, 3 wrinkled yellow, whereas 1 will be wrinkled green. So in this you can see 10 will be of parental combinations. Parental means which one? The parents that you have taken as considered for the cross in the beginning. They are round yellow. The pure breeding plants that you have written were round yellow and wrinkled green. So the parental combinations will be this and this. These 6 will be new combinations. Round green was not there in the parents. Wrinkled yellow was also not there in the parents. Therefore, these are recombinants. So in the total phenotypes produced, 10 out of 16 will be parental combinations, whereas 6 out of 16 will be recombinants. Right, coming to the genotypic ratio, you can see various different types of genotypes can be seen here. Totally there are 9 different types of genotypes. So you can see capital R, capital R, capital Y, capital Y. So in the total matrix only this will be that. Whereas capital R, capital R, capital Y, small y, exactly in the diagonal position you can find that capital R, capital R, capital Y, small y. Now capital R, small r, capital Y, you can find this genotype exactly in the corresponding position, that is here capital R, small r, capital Y, and in this diagonal line the 4 will be of only one type. Like this there are totally 9 different types of genotypes which you can get. So a simple way to write that genotypic ratio is, one is capital R, capital R, capital Y. So that is this. These two, capital R, capital Y, small y, 2. So 2 will be that. 1 capital R, small y, small y. 2 capital R, small r, capital Y. 1 is here, the 1 is here. 4 capital R, small r, capital Y, small y. 2 capital R, small y, small y. 1 small r, capital Y. 2 small r, capital Y, small y. And 1 will be small r, small y. So the genotypic ratio is 1 is to 2 is to 1 is to 2 is to 4 is to 2 is to 1, 2 is to 1. That's how you can get the genotypic ratio of the dihybrid cross. Now coming to the conclusions from this dihybrid cross, Mendel has proposed a law of independent assortment based on this. Before understanding this, we'll just see the law of segregation once again. See here, assortment or segregation means same only. So this one is about segregation or assortment of alleles during gamete formation. This one is also same, that is assortment or segregation of alleles only, but here independent word is added. Why it is added, we'll see. So coming to this, according to law of segregation during gamete formation, each gamete will receive one allele from one allelic pair. Therefore, in the F2 phenotypic ratio, you'll get 3 is to 1. This phenotypic ratio is possible because there is segregation of alleles. So, phenotypic ratio 3 is to 1 in F2 generation is the proof for law of segregation. Right, when it comes to the phenotypic ratio of the dihybrid cross, just now we have seen it is 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. Right, what is important to understand in this is monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross, the difference is what you consider. So in this, What if I ignore the color from the dihybrid cross? So we have performed dihybrid cross, but now I'm starting ignoring one particular character. Say I'm ignoring the color here. So let me take only this. So you can see 9 round, 3 round, 3 wrinkled, 1 wrinkled. So you don't have to write these separately. So this is what, when I ignore one particular character, that is color. So with respect to one trait, what I am getting is 9 plus 3, totally 12 round, and 3 plus 1, 4 wrinkled. And we know 4 3s are 12. Therefore, what I am getting here is 3:1. So in the dihybrid cross also, I am able to see 3:1 ratio when I ignore one trait, one pair of traits. The same way, when I ignore the shape here, I should get the same, that is 3:1 with respect to yellow and green, that is with respect to the seed color, that you can see here. So 9 plus 3 yellow, that is 12, 3 plus 1 4 green. So again 12:4 yellow and green respectively, therefore it is again 3:1, which means segregation of this allelic pair, that is law of segregation applicable to this particular allelic pair, is not affected due to the presence of this. So segregation of this is independent of this particular allelic pair. That's why I'm getting again 3:1 ratio in the dihybrid cross also. This is what the law of independent assortment is. I repeat, segregation of one allelic pair is independent of the other allelic pairs, is what the law of independent assortment is. So this is what the law of independent assortment. So when two pairs of traits, alleles, are combined in a hybrid like this, capital R small r capital Y small y, segregation of one pair of traits or alleles is independent of the other pair. This is what the law of independent assortment says. This is what Mendel has proposed based on the dihybrid cross. Right, we'll see some problems based on what we have discussed so far in monohybrid and dihybrid cross to understand these concepts in a better way. When pure breeding violet flowered plant, it's pea plant again, crossed with the pure breeding white flower plant, what is the proportion of white flower plants in F1 and F2 generation? So whenever a problem is given in genetics, you have to understand the problem first. So just write the data first. So what is the data that is given? Pure breeding violet flower plant is crossed with. So this is pure breeding violet flower plant crossed with pure breeding white flower plant. That's what it is. Now the question is about what is the proportion of white flower plants in F1 generation and in F2 generation. So when you write the cross for this, we know in F1 generation only violet flower plants will be produced because violet is dominant over white. White will not be expressed in F1. But in F2, the proportion of white flowered plants will be 1 in 4. So totally 4 types of plants when I just take, in that one will be white. So that's what we have written. 3:1 is the phenotypic ratio. So totally 4 plants we have written for 4 plants. In this, 3 will be of violet and 1 will be of white. So the answer for this question is 0% as the proportion is asked, and 25%, or maybe 0 and 0.25. That's how you have to write the proportions. What is the proportion of capital W gametes produced from F1 plant of a regular monohybrid cross? So as this is regular monohybrid cross, I can take directly pure breeding plants only. So pure breeding plants, that is capital W, small w. See here, what is the phenotype of this and all doesn't matter, because the question is not about that. It is about only what proportion of W, capital W gametes will be produced. So the F1 will be what? Capital W, small w, as it is regular monohybrid cross. So a proportion of it means what? 50%. So from this, capital W will be 50%, and small w will be 50%. What is the proportion of capital W small w genotype produced in F2 generation of regular monohybrid cross? So now the question is about genotype of the F2 generation, that is capital W small w. So as we know, three types of genotypes are possible. One is homozygous dominant, two heterozygous, one homozygous recessive. This question is about what? Heterozygous. Therefore it is 2 in 4, that is 50%. What is the proportion of capital W small r genotype produced in the F2 generation of a regular dihybrid cross? So as we know, totally in the regular dihybrid cross in F2 generation, totally 16 combinations, 16 possible organisms we have seen, in which the possibilities are totally 9. So in this, how many are capital W small r is what the question is about. So if you just see the genotypic ratio of dihybrid cross, it is this 1:2:1:2 4:2:1:2 1:1. Now the question is about capital W small r, this, which is same as this. As we have discussed with respect to round and yellow, I have taken this. So what is the proportion of capital W small r is the question is about. So to find this answer, there are three different methods, in which the first method is to write the complete dihybrid cross from the parents to F2 generation, the complete matrix and the genotypic ratio, and calculate counting this number. As we know, we will not have that much time in the entrance examinations and all. Therefore, this method is not possible in the examination. So this is one of the method to understand. But when it comes to the second method, you can directly remember that the total genotypes produced in the F2 generation of dihybrid cross will fall into three different categories. They are: double heterozygous is one possibility, which means with respect to two allelic pairs it is heterozygous, that is this. So with respect to first allelic pair it is heterozygous, second allelic pair also it is heterozygous only. Therefore it is double heterozygous. So totally how many types will be produced? Only one type. What is that? Capital R, capital Y, small y. So only one type. That. So totally how many? 4. So that is 4. Now number of single heterozygous. Single heterozygous means with respect to only one allelic pair it is heterozygous. With respect to the other allelic pair it has to be homozygous. So if you take this second one, it is homozygous with respect to this, heterozygous with respect to this. So this one, this one, this one and this one. All these are single heterozygous type. So each single heterozygous will be 2. You can see that capital R, capital Y, small y is 2. Totally how many types like that will be produced? Means it is totally 4 types. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is 4 types into 2. Totally 8 will be single heterozygous. Now number of double homozygous, the remaining, that is this, this, this and this. So that is 4 totally 4 types, and each one is 1, therefore it is 4. So in a simple way to say all these things, so in 1:2:1:2:4:2:1:2:1, the number 4 in that refers to the double heterozygous, 2 refers to single heterozygotes. Totally how many 2's are there? 4 2's are there. The same way 1 refers to double homozygous, totally 4 1's are there. That's what I have written here. So the question is now, what is the proportion of capital W small r? So you don't have to write anything on the paper. Simply what you can say, take here is, it is single heterozygous. It is homozygous, this is heterozygous. So what will be the number of each single heterozygous? It will be 2. That's what we have written here. So straight away you can tell the answer is 2. You don't have to put the pen on the paper. This is the other method is. The third method is applying probability here. So when I take the proportion of capital W small w in the F2 generation. So here I have divided this into different monohybrid crosses. So I'll just write the thing here. So capital W, small w, capital R, small r crossed with capital W, small w, capital R, small r. Now from this, what is the probability of capital W, small w? It is 1 in 4, as we know how to write for the monohybrid cross, this only. So it is 1 by 2. Now what is the proportion of smaller from this? So it is homozygous recessive and this is this. So therefore it is what? 1 by 4. So 1 by 2 into 1 by 4. So it is 1 in 8. 1 in 8 or 2 in 16. So in all these methods, you'll get the same answer, but depending on the time that you have, depending on the kind of question you are asked, so you can use any of these methods. So in the entrance examinations, as I told you, this is not the method that to be applied. So either you have to use this method or this method, in which for a regular dihybrid cross, straight away you go with the method 2 only. You don't have to write any probabilities and calculate on the paper. But this method is useful in a different kind of problem like this. What is the proportion of capital A small a, capital B small b, small a, capital B, capital B genotypes produced in F2 of a regular dihybrid cross? So here again it is regular dihybrid cross only. Therefore, here you can directly use second method only. You don't have to use the third method. So what is the second method? Directly predicting. So it is F2 regular dihybrid cross. Therefore, it is single heterozygous. Therefore, it has to be totally 2 out of 16. And this is also a double homozygous. Therefore, 1 out of 16. So 2 by 16, 1 by 16 is the answer is. So here it is actually the third method is useful in this case. What is the proportion of capital A, capital B, small c genotype produced in the cross between capital A, capital B, capital C, small c, capital A, small a, capital B, small c. So this problem looks bit bigger and all, but very simple thing. Again, you divide this problem into individual parts. So as I've shown here, the proportion of capital A small a is asked from what? Capital A small a, capital A small a. So you know it is again heterozygous from this, which is similar to the F2 of the monohybrid cross. So the proportion directly we know it is half. Now when I take capital B small b, this, what is the proportion of capital B? This. So in this, what is the proportion? Half, because I'll get only two, capital B type and capital B small b type from this. Therefore, the proportion of this will be half. The same way, third one, capital C crossed with small c. What is the proportion of small c? It looks like one test cross, monohybrid test cross. So in which small c will be half. See, these things directly you must be in a position to predict without writing even this on the paper. Straight away you have to write the probabilities here only by looking into this. So with this one will come with the practice on the monohybrid cross. So practice as many problems as possible like this. So now the question is about proportion of this. So what you have to do, you have already written this. So the proportion of this thing is half, this thing is 1 by 2, and again this thing is 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2. Therefore the answer is 1 by 8. So whatever the problem that is given, so it can be trihybrid like this, or maybe tetrahybrid or pentahybrid or hexahybrid. You divide that problem into monohybrid crosses, use this like a formula, and you can directly calculate the proportions. Now coming to the dihybrid test cross, it is the cross between the double heterozygous condition with double homozygous condition. Then you will get the phenotypic ratio 1 is to 1 is to 1 is to 1, and genotypic ratio also 1 is to 1 is to 1 is to 1. So you can write this thing again. So if it is monohybrid cross, capital R small r crossed with small r small r. This is how you'll get 1 is to 1, that is test cross ratio. The same way, another test cross will be capital R small y, small y crossed with small y small y. So what I'll get again, 1 is to 1 phenotypic and genotypic ratios. So straight away it is double heterozygous with double homozygous. That's how you'll get the phenotypic ratio. So phenotypic ratio for the dihybrid cross will be 1 is to 1 is to 1 is to 1, and genotypic ratio also same. Right, well, coming to the trihybrid cross, so here 3 pairs of traits, that is 3 different characters are considered. So tall, round, yellow, again pure breeding crossed with the dwarf, wrinkled green. The genotypes are this. From this the gametes produced will be this, and in F1 generation you'll get capital T small t, capital R small r, capital Y small y. So triple heterozygous plant will be produced in the F1 generation. So from this, how many types of gametes produced means 2 power 3. So you have already seen 3 heterozygous conditions are there. So totally 8 gametes will be produced from this. So when I perform self hybridization, 8 from this and 8 from the same, that is 8 into 8, 64 combinations have to be obtained. Means I have to write a matrix of 64. So simply, without writing all these things, straight away you can just take the phenotypic ratio, which is 27 is to 9 is to 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. This is the phenotypic ratio, which you will get when you write this particular cross with 64 matrix. The other way to obtain this phenotypic ratio without writing the matrix, right? See, we know the monohybrid phenotypic ratio is 3 is to 1. So when you multiply 3 is to 1 with another monohybrid ratio, I'll get dihybrid phenotypic ratio, which is 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. This multiplication means like this: 3 into 3, 9, 3 into 1, 3, 1 into 3, 3, 1 into 1, 1. That's how we have to multiply. Now when I multiply this with one more monohybrid, because I am considering one more pair of alleles here, so into 3 is to 1. Therefore 9 into 3, 27, 9 into 1, 9, 3 into 3, 9, 3 into 3, 9, 3 into 1, 3, 3 into 1, 3, 1 into 3, 3, 1 into 1, 1. That's how the multiplication will be. That's how you can get the phenotypic ratio. The same way, the genotypic ratio will be little bit complicated, not that important, but just how we can get this genotypic ratio means. See, already we have seen how the genotypic ratio of the dihybrid cross will be. So this is the genotypic ratio of monohybrid cross. I am multiplying that with another monotypic genotypic ratio, monohybrid genotypic ratio. So what I'll get, 1 into 1, 1, 1 into 2, 2, 1 into 1, 1, 2 into 1, 2, 2 into 2, 4, 2 into 1, 2. The same way this also, 1 is to 2 is to 1. This is how I'll get the genotypic ratio in the F2 generation of dihybrid cross. Now for getting the genotypic ratio of trihybrid cross, I have to multiply this with one more monohybrid F2 genotypic ratio. Therefore, the ratio will be this. See, basically the number is, I'm having a total in 9 here, 9 into 3. So 27 different types of genotypes will be obtained. You can count this. This will be having totally 27 types of genotypes. In a monohybrid cross, 3 types of genotypes. What are they? Homozygous dominant, heterozygous, homozygous recessive. In case of dihybrid, totally I'm having 9 different types of genotypes in this ratio. The same way, in genotypes of trihybrid cross in F2 generation, totally you'll get 27 different types. I'm talking about the types, not the total number. Right? This is the total types. So this is how you can write the phenotypic and genotypic ratios for the trihybrid cross. Otherwise, you can write the matrix and you can just calculate this. So thank you for very much for your attention, and you can try this dihybrid, trihybrid cross as well as the monohybrid cross, and test process also by taking the other characters before we discuss about the deviations from the Mendel's crosses in the next lecture. So thank you.